And with the last warm-up out of the way, we can now get into our working sets. That last warm-up being 375, which is 10 pounds heavier than my traditional warm-up, which would go 315 and then to 365. Making that extra 10 pounds jump will in turn make my first working set not feel so heavy here at 405. And a little bit of program change for me, where I was going to move from triples to doubles then singles. This has always worked very well for me in bench programming, but I've now changed that as of today. After previously hitting a lifetime PR of 405 for a triple, instead of moving to doubles, I'm going to do something a little bit different that I believe will, in the end, prove to be the better choice. Mimicking actual competition day performance, but starting low and building up through a progressive load, as I've been doing here for several months. So today we are starting with a 405 opener, a second attempt which is 15 pounds heavier, and a third attempt which is 15 pounds heavier than that. And I'm going to progressively move those heavier as the weeks go, which will hopefully end up where I want it to be for competition day, prepping me for actual real feel of the day of an opener, a second attempt, and a third attempt, priming my body for real world competition experience throughout my training. This is a little bit different for me, as I've never actually used this exact setup in training before. It's all of experimentation, it's all for fun. So let's find out what happens. Hey, soda pop, come on. Soda pop getting away. Make it look easy, huh? So that went pretty damn well. I can't complain how any of those singles moved. I'm pretty happy with all three of them. Although 435, I wish moved a little bit quicker. I can't complain since that is only 5 pounds off of my all-time best ever from earlier in this year around May time. But they all moved well enough to where I can reliably add 5 pounds into next week, which will lead me to already matching my all-time lifetime PR here at 50 days out, essentially the halfway point of the 100-day prep that I am building from. Of course, I can't continue to add 5 pounds every week all the way until prep. There will come a point where I have to pull back and then build back up, because at this level, I cannot just continue to progressively overload all the way until prep. That's not realistic at all. But when it comes time for that adjustment, I will indeed make it. But for now, moving into our working sets, this will absolutely be the heaviest working sets that I've ever done straight weight, plus the addition of the bands. So it is by far and large well over a working set PR. So now I'm just going to get under the bar and push hard as hell. Okay, so I was wondering when the breakdown would happen, as the last few days I've been feeling quite beat up and not very recovered as well. And if you watched my most recent video after deadlift, where I failed a couple of sets of warm-ups and then failing a top set before taking a rest and then actually hitting my top set on the deadlift, but it was a struggle bus city and was much harder than it should have been this point in the program. Now, even though the 405, the 420, and the 435 moved fairly well, the 405 felt much heavier than it should. The warm-ups leading up to it were not moving that quick, but I still managed to make it through feeling more or less okay. But I finally found the breaking point, and that was this first set of 3. And knowing that, how that felt, there's absolutely no way that I'm going to make it through all 4 sets. So we're going to make a slight adjustment today, continue to move, continue to progress, and we are just going to drop the bands off, keep the straight weight where it is, so I can at least make it through all 4 sets and get some work in, and then I will readjust what we're going to do following the next few weeks, whether I keep the bands, regress the weight, or make a change to something. I'm not really sure yet. So, but as of right now, I'm going to continue on with my working sets without the bands. So, bit of a mid-session roundup here. The first bench session of the day, the 3 heavy singles, they went all right, moved pretty well considering how crappy I was feeling coming into the session. The working sets obviously failed immediately. Well, I didn't fail them, but I knew if I would have kept the bands on for the rest of the sets, I would have absolutely failed them. So making a quick adjustment, removing that band tension, and finishing out my 4 sets of 3. Although 1 set being minus, or 1 set being with the bands, the next 3 with just straight weight. Still a weight PR as far as reps and volume goes in that sense. Then moving on to the pec deck and tricep extensions. Still, those are both rep and all-time weight PRs on both of those machines. So even though I'm coming in feeling not 100%, not even 70% really, still hitting weight and rep PRs on my accessories, getting near PR reps on the heavy singles. Overall, still a relatively extremely positive day. And if I can continue to make progress and move weight the way I am when I'm feeling a little bit, beat down and tired from, then this is all good. Now, moving on to the curls, which is really just a rehab movement. I'm not really progressing them. I've been keeping them at this weight with the preacher style, as it puts the least amount of pressure on my elbow and my bicep tendon, which I can say is feeling much, much better over compared to about a month ago. So I will continue to keep this weight here, as it's heavy enough to me to feel like I'm doing something, but not heavy enough to feel like I'm doing more good or doing more bad than I am good. Now, time to grab the steel in the sun, good old-fashioned sun and steel movement out here in the yard, and finish up with the last two movements after that with some heavy rows and some heavy strugs, because you can't get taller, but you can get wider and thicker. I love my machines, but still hard to beat a good old-fashioned barbell preacher curl. Let's go. Last one. If I hit these for both sets, all the reps, I'm having a cookie. One more rep and I'll get a cookie.